Good afternoon, my dear organizers and fellow researchers. The topic of my research or study is the utilization of the learning management system, or the LMS, and the student satisfaction toward LMS plan of action. So literally, if we try to get into the background of the study, since the global pandemic struck and also the idea of the new normal, higher education institutions move to that idea of blended learning, integration of the learning management system. So here are the objectives of my study. What is the demographic profile of respondents according to age, gender, program, the frequency of the students to the use of the LMS, and also the gadgets that are used, and also the academic year level in which the students are. Second is the extent of utilization of LMS in terms of the two variables, the perceived ease of use and the perceived usefulness. And the third one, to what extent did the respondents' level of satisfaction in terms of attitude toward use, behavioral intention of use, and the system usage also. And lastly, based on the result of the study, what plan of action can be proposed to enhance student satisfaction and also the utilization of LMS. I would like to share to everybody that the original objectives of the study is composed of 7 objectives. But for this presentation, I'll be using the 4-1. The first 3 objectives and also the last one, which is the output of the study. So the study was based from this framework, the Davis model, which is the TAMS model. So literally, you can see here that the PU, the perceived usefulness, and also the perceived ease of use, and also the attitudes towards use, BIU, or the behavioral intention to use, and the system usage. So the methods and methodology of the research, the design is descriptive correlational research. And the population ensemble, the setting is in one of the private universities in Quezon City, and the total population of the school is 934 students, and the sample size that was got for this study is 281 respondents using the Sloven's formula. The sampling used was random sampling. So as a tool or as a data collection method, I used survey, and as an instrument is the questionnaire. Here is the sample of the questionnaire through the G form. So this questionnaire is a self-made questionnaire. It was validated by experts through the help of IT expert and also the higher education director. Aside from the validation of experts, is also using the reliability test using the Cronbach Alpha, since this is a self-made questionnaire. The next one is the data analysis used the frequency and percentage, the average weight mean, ANOVA, and also the t-test, and using SPSS software. To share to you some of those items that were asked in the questionnaire, the first objective, which is what is the demographic profile of the respondents according to the given variable, age, gender, program, the frequency of LMS use, gadget use, and also the academic year level. So, for example, in this table, the age group, the frequency, and also the percentage. 18 to 22 years old, 23 to 27 years old, 28 years old and above, and the total respondents. And the other side is the respondents' gender profile. Mostly, if you can see here, male and also the female. The program of study are coming from the accountancy, the business administration, and also the IT, information tech program. And the other one, and the frequency of using LMS is once a week, 2 to 5 times a week, more than 5 times a week as the options. The next one, all the gadgets used are desktop or laptop, tablet, smartphone. And another one, the academic year level is coming from the first year, second year, third year, and fourth year. I would like to share to everybody, this HAI has also 5th year level, but literally in the number of students, I only included the first year and the fourth year students. The second SOP pertains to what is the extent of utilization of the LMS in terms of the perceived ease of use, since this is one of the variable that is used by Davis in the TAMS model. So you can see here the mean of the LMS perceived ease of use was 3.99, in which has its interpretation to great extent. By the way, there's a legend at the bottom of the table. Next one is the perceived usefulness. So you can see here, the left side is the statement indicators. By the way, I forgot to mention that beforehand. So some of those indicators are using LMS in my classes would enable me to accomplish tasks more quickly and so on. I find LMS useful in my studies. So if you try to get into the total, in the LMS perceived usefulness, the mean is 4.08 and has its standard deviation 0.87. And the interpretation is to a great extent. A summary of the second objective, you can see here, comparing the two perception areas, it has its extent of, in the extent of utilization of the LMS, it has 4.03, which has standard deviation of 0.84, which has its interpretation to a great extent. And third, the objective, to what extent the respondents' level of satisfaction towards the LMS, utilization of the LMS in terms of the three variables that was part of the framework of TOMS. Attitudes towards use, BIU, and also the system usage, the SS. Some of the systems indicator, studying using LMS is a good idea, etc. The last one is, I believe that this is also a good idea for me to use this LMS for my future coursework. And respondents' attitude toward the use of the LMS is 4.06, in which the interpretation is very satisfied. And BIU, you can see here that respondents' behavior intention to use the learning management system is 3.9, and the standard deviation is 0.83, which is the interpretation is very satisfied. And the system usage is this one. Some of those system indicators are, I find the LMS user-friendly, and LMS enhances my overall learning experience. And to sum up with that, the mean is 4.02 and the standard deviation is 0.84, which is very satisfied. As a summary of the table 3.4, the areas of satisfaction basing from the three variables is 3.99, and the standard deviation is 0.79, which is very satisfied also. So the impacts and the outcomes of the study, you can see here, there is the variation of the demographic profile, by the way, looking into the age group down to the academic program that they are in. In the age group, you can see that 18 to 22 years old composed of the almost 91% of the study. Gender distribution mostly are males. And the frequency of LMS use, you can see here that most of the students are using LMS 2 to 5 times a week. And the gadget use that is mostly used by the students is desktop and also laptops while using the LMS. The year level, if you can see, mostly using the LMS are first-year students, which is almost 46% of the study. So literally, if you try to get into the extent of the LMS utilization, the overall weight mean score was 4.03, indicated that there's that high perception or perceived ease of use and usefulness. And also in the student satisfaction, you can see here also, there is the average satisfaction means, which is 4.02. High satisfaction across attitude toward use, behavior, intention to use, and also the system usage. And to the conclusion, if you try to get into those ideas mentioned a while ago with the findings, you can see here that the idea, for example, for demographic profile analysis, the gender distribution lean towards male, and also the young adults, 18 to 22 years old, was mostly used in the LMS. And also the perception of LMS utilization has its positive sentiment driven by the ease of use and also the usefulness. Next one, student satisfaction. LMS effectively meets students' expectation and needs. Yet, if you try to get into some of those mentioned, total of those variables that were mentioned, there's still a need for the improvement of the LMS that is used. And that is the reason that there's also the formulation of proposed plan of action as the output of this study. So for the recommendation for this study, one is the user demographic considerations also, since mostly of the population of that said HEAI are mostly first-year students. And I think that is also the reason there's that higher population looking into the total of the profiling. Second, program-specific enhancement. By the way, the idea with it is literally looking more inclined to a stratified sampling idea, even though there's a number of the first-year students, for example, it has a highest number of population in the given HEI. Supposedly, it would equate also for the second level, third-year level, and also the fourth-year level. Second is the program-specific enhancement. So literally, given we know that if we're talking about LMS, more specific to different programs that is connected to that specific LMS, there's also a need to look into what are those programs that need to be connected on that LMS. The third one is the device compatibility support. So just like what is the result of the study, laptops and desktops, since that is the most compatible if you try to get into the said LMS. So there's a need to look into ways to be compatible also to cell phones, since it's the very one, it's the very accessible one. And also lastly, the frequency of access encouragement to students, especially to the higher level students. So these are my references. By the way, there are other references, but for the sake of this presentation, I only included some of the references. Thank you, everybody. I'm the last presenter, but I made it quick to make it into the time allotment also. But I'm very grateful to the organizers and also my fellow researcher for this job well done international research conference.